Welcome to the Project Exodus Court podcast. My name is Paul, episode 51. I've got my good friend Joel over
What's up,
here.
guys?
And tonight we have a very special guest, Mr. Tyler. What's up, Tyler?
What's up, guys?
Am I allowed to say your last name?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Butler.
Oh,
What happened? Oh, and yeah, and of course, behind our producer, our executive producer, Steph. I don't know. Am I allowed to say her last name? Can I pronounce it?
go for it.
Try it.
What's your last name? I don't know. Yep, there we go. Maja.
That would be a rough one.
Yeah. But yeah, episode 51. Last week was really good. We had Sal on, a comedic, intelligent, multi-talented musician, rock star, bike rider of a guest. And this week we have a very talented, artistic, autistic Tyler Butler. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Stoked to be on here.
Couple things real quick. Just hold the mic close to your face because
Okay.
I don't know if they'll be able to hear you, but they need to, because I know your story, firsthand from being part of it, at least for the last few years, and it's a really, really powerful story. I'm really excited that you came on to the podcast and agreed to do this. So just to start out, tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, and we'll go from there.
All right. So, yeah, I'm Tyler. I'm a recovering addict. I was born and raised in Inglewood, Florida, which is a little bit south of here. I have a little brother, two older sisters that aren't, they're not full blood, but, they were in the picture the entire time. And, yeah, I had a pretty normal childhood for the most part. But my introduction to drug and alcohol use came on pretty early, and
Like how early?
11 years old.
What was that?
11 years old, I first started using pot, and then I immediately started drinking after that. And I kind of realized later on in life, I realized that I'm an adrenaline junkie at heart, but it might be based off of some traumas that I experienced as a child.
Yeah.
That I didn't really, as a child, if it's untreated, you don't really dissect those things. You think you're a normal kid and life's going to be normal, but then you get older, you start to dissect these things. And, I realized that they played a bigger part in why I like what drugs and alcohol do for me dopamine wise.
Right. And that's pretty common too. It's like, the feeling, the rush, the high, like for me, I remember it would just quiet the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of would just put my, stress or issues that I had to deal with that I didn't want to deal with at the time on pause, for at least for temporarily. So at 11 years old, was it more of like peer pressure, experimenting with friends, or how long after you started using did it become something of a crutch?
Unbeknownst to me, like I didn't realize it until early on in my teen years when I started like suffering from it really. But it was more so to fit in. Like I always felt like I needed something, I needed to take something to fit in. I was always envious of the older crowd. So from like as early as 5, 6 years old, I was always running towards the older kids and influenced by them. And so in early junior high, the older kids were starting to smoke weed, and they had these kegger parties like at the Salt Flats in Inglewood. It's this big redneck get together where they buy a keg and everybody gets drunk, and there's really no there's no rhetoric. Everybody's invited. So as early as 11, 12 years old, I was going out there, but what I do remember is I never just had one drink. Like right out of the gate, it was like 12 years old, blackout drunk, getting dropped off at my mom's house, ruined somebody's car, made an ass of myself. And I continued doing that all through junior high until early high school, and dropped out of high school, because of, because I wanted to, I liked getting high. So
What was that? So like you drop out of high school, what did you start doing for work?
I didn't work. I lived off of mom and dad. And they wanted me to get jobs, but I had started playing music very early on in life.
Oh,
So,
nice.
so yeah, I started playing in bands and started playing live shows, and I was determined that I was going to go and tour and put out records. So I would have this spiel with my mom about, I don't really need to go to high school. You know, I could just drop out and I could tour and make my money selling records. And that's one way of enabling my drug use,
Yeah,
So
what's cooler than a rock star that doesn't do coke?
yeah, yeah. There's not one out there.
Yeah.
So,
So, like I feel like that's a very common thing with a lot of us. Is like at some point in our early childhood. I remember there. I don't know what episode it was. I remember me and Joel and Andrew were doing an episode, and Joel made a comment about like, oh, what a loser! You got arrested at like 11 years old.
Yeah.
And didn't you get arrested at 11 years old?
13.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it happens like it's kind of, I think it's a lot of people's story. It's like it starts early. I remember like the bonfires and doing things like that in my teenage years, and same thing. Like I had to drink more than everybody. I had to make the biggest ass of myself.
Yeah.
And like when you think about it in hindsight, like who knew they were going to be a drug addict or alcoholic at that age? Or right?
Yeah.
Did you know, Joel?
Yeah. I mean, I was
No
I
question.
was measuring how much I drank and looked at the people that drank like me and then saw them, in college. And, I saw the older guys that did what I was doing in middle school, high school. And, and then I started kind of getting a pretty good glimpse of exactly where I was headed. But, I always told myself, I'll quit before then. Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
30 years later.
Yeah. 30
Yeah.
It's probably 30 years. Dang, man.
So, the first time I met Tyler, I remember like, of course, like they say, don't judge a book by its cover. I seen all the tattoos, and I was like, this guy's crazy.
Immediately
He must be
judged
nuts.
me.
Yeah.
And then you meet him, and he's the nicest guy, soft spoken, very, articulate. But Tyler's one of our house leads at Project Access Homes over at the Robinson House. And not to jump too far ahead into your story, obviously, but I just remember you coming in and out, like relapse. Was that a big part of your story? Like how long did you, fight trying to get clean or sober until you feel like it finally kicked in?
For the last 5 years, really truthfully. Like I knew that it was getting out of control. I lost everything that I had, and that's part of my story. That's part of my testimony. And I won't spoil that right now, but, like I had somewhat put something together, when I had my daughter. When I was having my daughter, I somewhat knew, okay, I've got to slow down. I've got to get things together. And I held them together and managed them. But, there was so many things left untreated. So, but yeah, truthfully, the last 5 years of my life, I've been trying to get sober.
And like, I guess a important thing to note is like you're a very talented tattoo artist now. I always assumed this, and this just goes to show you can't assume anything. I just assumed that's what you've always thought you were going to do. That was not your original career goals, was it? How did you get into that?
Dude, it's funny you ask. I originally, so funny how far it's gotten, but I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a cop.
We can turn the podcast off now.
Yeah, man. So didn't happen, and but I was always talented. Like I had always drawn. I was always like an artistic kid.
You may have fit in with being a cop with all
yeah, I mean
the blow and
yeah, not so cool. But yeah, I was always artistic. I was always I wasn't like a sports kind of guy early on. I was always inside drawing. My mom, she's got bins and bins and bins of drawings and stuff like that. But I never thought that I would be a tattoo artist. I actually have to credit the mother of my daughter for, because when we had met, we were both getting tattooed pretty pretty often, and she had way more tattoos than me, so I was trying to catch up with her. So I was always in the tattoo shop, and one thing led to another, and she was like, maybe you should try this. And I did, and yeah, the rest is history. Now I've been tattooing, I think, a little under 12 years now. So
What is what is what is that like? You know, I don't I can only imagine just kind of like being a rock star and drugs and alcohol go hand in hand. Is tattooing like that as well?
it can be. It can be. What's really cool is like being an addict that's desiring recovery or desiring the idea of getting sober. You can announce these types of things, and you can kind of coordinate. You know, you can kind of structure where you're going to work and make sure that the setting and the folks that you're working with and for either have that same ideal or can respect it enough that it's, you know, not going to be a problem. But that was not the case for like the last 5 years. And I would even go and, you know, set up at a new shop and announce this like right off rip. I would announce, hey, I've got a drug problem, I'm trying to get my life together. You know, that's, you know, so I don't need any.
What is the response there? Like everybody's like, "Oh, me too,
Dude,
like, welcome to the club."
no, they would be like, dude, tattooers are crazy. You know, most of them are crazy. So I would get invited and they'd be like, absolutely, dude, we totally respect it. You know, absolutely, we understand. And then first day, you know, breaking out drugs and drinking actively, and that was it was in both my worlds too, man. Because I did eventually start to tour, and I did put out a few records. So I was in a pretty big metal band and toured around for quite a while. And so both my worlds were like an open door for drug use. So
How many tattoos you got, Joel?
0.
it's going to change.
It's not gonna change,
It's
man.
going to change live on this
I think-
podcast.
Episode 52. Joel
Yeah.
gets a tattoo.
Yeah, tune
I
in.
just couldn't think of any. Oh, yeah, Rob over Mink. Are the Mink House guys watching us? They said they would, man. So we got 2 guys, aspiring tattoo artists. One I think owned a few shops, but anyway, got 2 guys at Mink House. I told them to plug in to check with you or whatever. So if you get hit up by
Shout
some
out
people.
to the guys over at Mink and all the guys and girls at Project Texas
Yeah.
Homes. You know, I can see where that lifestyle, you know, it might be easy to get drugs for tattoos.
Dude, yeah. And then another thing, yeah, absolutely. Another thing is like it's quick cash. It's mostly cash, you know, so you're making a ton of cash daily. And if you don't have your life together, your priorities together, you know, we get an itch, we scratch it.
So I think, I mean, I know you probably don't want to spoil this, but I think for the podcast, it would be at least good banter for the 3 of us. So there was a point in time you went into a recovery home, you had some sobriety, and relapse happens. And I remember I got a phone call from, I guess, Detox. You called me from Detox.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of us went and picked you up, dropped you off at the Prudence house. You were there for like 3 seconds.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
So tell everybody that story.
So yeah, it was one of my like at least 50 or 60 detox trips. And it was becoming like an every other weekend thing. I'd go and stay somewhere. You know, I'd use and have nowhere to go, or I was either threatened by the law and scared to death. So I'd go into detox. And then, but dude, there was always part of me that knew I wanted to get sober. I knew I wanted it. I knew what I had to do. But I was just, you know, I wasn't ready, man. Like there's been, and that's going to be part of my testimony too, is there was a lot of things in my life that I have now addressed and faced and properly healed from that is going to, that has strengthened my ability to stay away from using drugs ever again, you know, that I wasn't willing to face, you know. But yeah, you know the deal. I mean, you know, it's like I would get to a new halfway house and it's a new group of guys, and you know, and honestly, I think no matter what the drug or substance is, 48 hours, 72 hours is not, it's not an ample amount of detox time. Like that's a couple naps and you get some food in your system, but like you really haven't detoxed fully. So, I mean, at least with the amount of drugs that I was using, like I was still not in my right frame of mind.
Yeah.
So,
No, you've come a long way. I mean, um, I think for the last 2-3 years, as you were kind of going in and out, like there were times where like I would be talking to your mom.
mhm.
Your mom would call me, or you'd be in jail. Were you in jail in Charlotte County?
Both.
Yeah,
I was, yeah.
I remember he was like one of the first people I put Tom on my phone so he could
Yeah.
call me, and
I remember picking you up from bus stop.
Yeah, Cattleman. Yeah, yeah, you did.
Took you over to Meek House. And you stayed since then, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you guys saved my life. That's no clue. It's going to be part of my testimony. Is like,
yeah, I mean, what I want you to know this too, and you don't have to share anything you don't want to, that you're saving for Wednesday night. Most of the people that watch this they may not even be there Wednesday night. So,
Yeah.
So
spill it, man.
spill it.
okay,
Like,
sick.
talk
All right,
about
yeah.
it. I'll give my version of that and then let you clean it up if you want.
Yeah, 100%. Go.
Tyler'd been, flirting with coming into the homes, right? Like he'd been in jail.
Yeah.
He would promise when he gets out, he'd come. And I know that there was just one point where he just really, really went off the rails. And one day he calls me out of nowhere. I think I'm sitting in a
recliner,
sitting in the parking lot of the gym. I was sitting in the parking lot of the gym. What just couldn't go in, It was one of those days. And Tyler calls, and I want to say it was like a Knoxville number or something. I remember seeing Knoxville, Tennessee come up. He's like, "Hey man, I don't know what to do." Like, he's telling me that he's on this like farm or ranch out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
He went on like a bender, like an ice bender, and he ended up in Tennessee somehow.
Yeah.
How did you tell us like how the beginning, like the chronological steps of that whole thing, but that got you here, and what in those conversations that we had made you think differently this time?
So, just to back up, I had put together at the time. I had put together the most clean time I've ever had, since I was 11, 12 years old, and it was 3 months to the day. But where I was staying at, I'm not going to name the halfway house, but it was a local halfway house program, and you were not required to work a program. They could give a heck if you were sober or not, just as long as you're paying the rent. And I knew guys were actively getting high in the house, and I had a true 90 days sober, and it was the longest I'd ever gotten. And I called you, and you were like, "Yeah, I should be having some beds open soon. Just give me 10 days." I think you were like, or maybe I had asked, "Okay, well, give me 10 days to come up with the intake fee or whatever." And within that 10 days, I had relapsed, and I just didn't end up going back to the house. I was on the run. So really fear initially led me to where I found myself in Tennessee, spun out. And I had nowhere to go. My family was threatening the law on me. I put them through the ringer with my addiction. So, because I've got a very loving family. That's one thing that I am super thankful for.
Your mom's a saint.
Oh my gosh.
Your mom's a saint.
Oh my gosh.
Your sister's a saint.
Yeah, dude. My whole family.
Yeah, I had some really tough conversations with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were conversations where I can't. I mean, it's been a while, but I just remember the one in particular. I was like, if he comes back, you got to tell him to leave. Like if he's using, like don't coddle him. And I just remember your mom just was really upset. Like she didn't want to have to do that, and that's all of our moms.
Mm-hmm.
All of our moms. Nobody. I tell people this all the time. The breaking point for me to get sober was when my mom quit answering the phone.
Right.
And that was like the wake up moment. Like, oh my goodness, mom's not answering.
Because until they do, we just are going to see how far we could take it. We'll always have a plan B. They'll always be the back burner. Like they'll always be like, okay, well, at least I can go back to mom's and, I can figure it out there. But I mean, my siblings really played the biggest part because they were the ones, I'm a mama's boy. I always have been. And I'm my mom's only, uh, like full blood kid. So I was always, I was kind of always like her baby,
The other kids like mudbloods, half bloods.
Half blood.
Yeah. My little brother and my two older sisters. Yeah, they're on my. They got my stepdad's blood.
Oh, they're muggles.
Yeah, I don't know my real dad. Never met him.
If I go around, like if I went around and interviewed everyone in all our houses, I think typically there's a higher percentage chance of people being like the youngest or only child. Um, and I'm sure this goes back to like enabling and stuff.
Yeah,
Addiction and stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to quote statistics. I had seen some podcasts where they talked about like people growing up in single parent homes, single mother homes, single father homes. And when I look across, like at least the people closest to me, like that was my case.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know that was their case. And not saying it just makes me think of like how we raise our kids.
Right.
I want to give Charlotte the best advantage I possibly can in life. So I know I need to be there, be present.
Yeah.
And not to divvy from the topic too much. How did you end up in Tennessee?
So, gosh, dude. So this guy at that halfway house that I was at, that I relapsed at, there was this guy that they called in to come help run the program, like run an actual program. And he was so inspiring for the small amount of time that he was there. He was so inspiring. And he would always talk about back home. He runs a program in Tennessee that was successful, but it's a long-term program. It's not AA or NA based. It's very religion based, very God based. But he would always, I kind of clung to him. He was, everything he said was great. And so he ended up leaving that program, and I saved his number. And after like maybe 4 to 6 weeks, homeless, just literally walking around Venice, spun out, going from trap house to trap house. I showed back up at my mom's house, and I remember the morning because I tried to like walk up. She would always sit out on the porch, and I tried to walk up over this ditch, and I fell face first into the ditch. And then I look up, and she's just in the driveway bawling her eyes out. And so I give it up. I walk up to her, and she obviously knew. And so I told her just to buy myself more time because I had a whole bag of dope on me. So I had this whole plan in my head. Okay, well, I'll tell her I'm going to Tennessee to get sober for real this time, which was complete, BS. It was just to buy myself more time. Well, she was like, all right, call him right now. Mind you, I hadn't slept for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, spun out. And so I called him, and he answered. And I was like, Mike, I need to get sober. I'll come out to Tennessee. I'll find some way to get out there. And this guy said, all right, hung up the phone and started driving down from Tennessee to come pick me up. So I told my mom that. But I didn't believe him. I didn't think it was actually going to come true. But I mean, I was spun out. And I was just trying to buy myself more time. So I had kept using. She said, okay, you could stay here for the next couple days, but when he comes to pick you up, you're going. And so I had used the next 2 days in her home, around the family, just locked myself in this room. And then that day came, and he pulls up into the driveway, and oh my God, dude, I was so spun out. I put on sunglasses to go talk to him. I was like, all right, I'm going to tell her, and he was like, that's great. Get in my car. We're going to Tennessee, and you're getting sober. So in a complete psychosis, I thought this guy was going to take me out to the middle of the woods and murder. I mean, the entire drive up there, anytime he would take his hand off the steering wheel, I was like, you know what I mean? This is it. This is the moment. But I was in psychosis. I was spun out. So
Right.
Yeah. And this poor guy, dude. And honestly, he's on like very near the top of my list of amends to make, because all this guy wanted to do was get me sober. Everybody has their own way, right? Like they have their own, not everyone trying to get sober or get their lives together are going to do it through the fundamental AANA program. And this program was not run like that. So yeah, I woke up like 2 days later in Spring City, Tennessee, and was just like, how did I get here? Where am I? I found him. He had a house right next to the program where all the guys would stay. And a lot of these guys, most of these guys were prison, like it was a sentence. You were sentenced to go stay at this program for a certain amount of time. But I remember going up to him and telling him, like, dude, I got to get back to Florida. Like, I have no idea where I'm at. I mean, it's in the complete mountains of Tennessee. The nearest Walmart was like 2 hours away.
What did you have to do while you're there? I know you brought up
Oh
you
my
had to work.
gosh, dude.
Let's talk about that.
Dude. So you have to pay the rent. And the rent, dude, I mean, I'm not trying to.
How much was
It
rent?
was hefty rent.
How much was rent?
It was hefty.
It was your whole check, right?
Dude, it was $260 a week.
What?
And listen, I'm not trying to do, I don't want to down talk any program out there.
For reference, we charge $185.
Okay, plug
Yeah.
that in. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
looking for affordable sober living. Check out Project Exodus Homes, projectexodushomes.com.
Dude, listen, mind you, the conditions. Like I can't even describe to you the conditions.
No, yes, you can. We're on a podcast.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can
sick.
definitely describe it. Visual.
Worse than jail. Worse than jail. There's asbestos. Like it's about like 30 bunk beds in one small upstairs, very dry.
They might
rotted.
owe you an amends.
Yeah.
They might owe you an amends.
Oh, I mean, dude, you know what?
When he was telling the story, I was picturing like Yellowstone, like this really nice.
No, dude, no,
He's
no,
like riding over.
no.
Yeah,
And that's
Hey,
dude. So that's what I was thinking when Tennessee. I'm like, I'm going to Tennessee to get sober.
horseback.
Yeah,
When you said Spring City, I was like, oh, well.
Yeah.
you know. So not many people know. So,
Yeah, he almost didn't answer the phone because he knew where it was coming from.
oh my god, dude, that phone call though. That phone call.
Yeah. So before you get to that phone call, what was you doing physical? What was your physical labor? Like, what
Oh my
was you like
gosh.
picking up rocks? Like, what were you doing?
Shoveling all day.
No, listen, dude. Listen,
Chain gang.
you're either making bricks, like concrete bricks, like actual bricks. But I was unloading trailers, like full 18-wheel trailers of fireworks that they were selling, like this church was selling. They would go around and sell fireworks everywhere. So we would unload like, I don't know, 100 to 150 pallets full of fireworks all day.
Any good ones? Or are you talking sparklers?
No, like
Yeah.
every firework known to man, like
Yeah, yeah.
probably the illegal ones, you know.
Yeah.
Anybody that's from that area, like there's a lot of places near there that you
You have to
can't
drive.
Yeah, you have to drive to Tennessee to get them, and you can get like a shipping container from China for very cheap. And
So a
then you
bunch of
bring 'em
country
here.
boys were showing up and pick up trucks by
Dude,
So you were unloading pallets of fireworks.
dude, I'm talking from like
And
6
what would you
a.m.
get paid? So yeah,
Oh my god,
6 a.m. to what? 6 p.m. Not till dark.
till dark, till like 8 p.m. till where I could barely move, and it was a pastor who ran it. And I remember I got in the truck, dude, and I'm like, okay, man, like I'm getting at least 100 to 150 bucks for what I just did. And I remember he looks back at like the three guys that I worked with, and he was like, now here's 60 bucks. Now don't spend that on one place. You save that and you put it towards something, your rent or something good. And I was just like, oh my God, dude, I'm never getting out of here, dude.
And so of that $60, it basically majority of it went to your rent.
Yeah, I mean,
Did they feed you?
Yeah, there was always food. Like they had some kind of ordeal worked out where they got like a surplus. It was a big place, dude. Like it was a huge kitchen, and they got a surplus. Like
oh, so they
meal.
feed you for the 260.
no,
This
you
place
still
ain't bad, man.
no, you still had to buy your own
Got the
food.
best shape of your life.
Yeah.
Friggin'. Yeah.
So how many days were you there working before you were like, I gotta go?
Dude, I think I was there 10 days,
Okay.
and I worked at pretty much every day. But
Did you have a cell phone?
no? So there's no phones allowed in the program.
How did you get mine?
Yeah, you had to-
Listen, dude. From my time spent in jail, because that's your phone number was the only phone number that I could remember other than mom's from jail.
You had it memorized.
Yeah, I had it memorized. So I was like, and I had to. It was. I think it was somebody at the church while I was working. I was like, "Hey, man, can I use your phone? I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to buy a bus ticket home." So, and I was praying you were going to pick up, dude, and you did. And that phone call literally saved my life. So,
Well, lucky for you, I was sitting in the parking lot of the gym
Yeah, crying.
contemplating whether I wanted to go in or not.
Yeah, waiting for that phone call as well. You say,
thank
dude,
God.
Can I swear or no?
You can. We'll
So
bleep
you
it
were
out.
pussyfooting, is what you were doing.
Yeah,
What?
both you
Oh, yeah,
guys.
for sure.
Going to the
Both you
gym.
guys were. You.
Oh, yeah.
Same time. Same phone calls.
I don't remember much about that phone call except you told me you like somehow I ended up in Tennessee. I got to get out of here. But
I
so-
think I started the phone call with "Please don't hang up." Like I know, because I was supposed to come. Like I was supposed to come to an
Yeah.
Exodus home,
yeah,
and I figured maybe obviously maybe my mom had reached out to you and told you I had that I was back out, and so I was like, dude, I'm praying to God that he answers the phone, and he
Yeah.
did, and I was just like, dude, do not hang up. Do you have a bed open? And I remember you telling me get here yesterday. So then I had to finagle.
yeah. How did that go? So you tell the guy.
I had to pay this guy on the outside of the program to buy me a Greyhound. And like Greyhounds from that place in Tennessee to a very specific Sarasota, Florida was not cheap. And it was not, they didn't, there's not many buses that run all the way down here on the Greyhound. But I did it. I bought the bus ticket. And
Did you have to walk to the bus station?
no, so I told the program, like, hey, I appreciate it. And I told the guy too, Mike, I told him, I appreciate what you did. He drove all the way to Florida to get me.
Shout out
so,
Mike.
Yeah,
You better
For sure.
Yeah, send him a link to this episode.
yeah.
I don't know. I definitely need to make an amends to him because, he
I
spent,
think he would be happy to see that you're doing good.
he spent a lot of time and a lot of resources and a lot of patience
And
to.
if he's anything like we are,
Yeah.
in his purpose is helping people.
Mhm.
And I could be completely wrong. I don't know the guy. Even when we have people that leave our program, it's always good to see them doing good.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of people that leave programs and never come back.
Right. Right.
And when you mentioned like hoping that I answered the phone, there's not very many people I wouldn't welcome back in
Mhm.
and give them another chance. And it's not like we, I just look at it like everybody's sick, and this
Right.
Joel says it all the time. It's a cycle, it's a
process.
process.
Man.
Yeah. And
Well, sometimes we don't get to welcome them back. You know what I mean? I
That's
just
true.
experienced that just last night. So
That's true.
we did.
yeah, I was doing updating some records, and there was an individual I couldn't update his records because he's no longer here.
Yeah.
Steph sees a bunch of crazy stuff, and she sees me looking at weird stuff, working on computer up at night.
What's his search history like?
Oh man,
I
She's
told
got-
someone that the other day too. Like, if my computer ever got checked, it's like, how long does cocaine instead? How long does this take in your system?
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird
like,
stuff.
this guy was paranoid.
Yeah. So you tell the guy you get a bus ticket, you get down here. Tell everybody that's watching what has Project Exodus been like? Like what has this experience been that you feel has made the biggest difference? And before you start, was it you that I told the Dragon Ball Z reference to?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast.
And now I use it. I used it religiously. Dude, you really did tap something in
Yeah,
me.
you should tell everybody.
So, yeah. All right. That part first.
Yeah, and then tell
All
them
right.
what Project X is like. Like what clip?
So I was in jail and I didn't know how much time I was facing. And I had called Paul because he was the only guy who would answer my calls in jail. And I was whining on the phone. I don't know if I'm going to be, I can't do this. I don't want to be in here for a year or more. And he makes a reference to a Dragon Ball Z show. And at the time when I'm in jail, while I'm in jail, I'm like, dude, why are you referencing an anime show right now? I'm dealing with real life. I'm dealing with real life, things here. But he says, he was like, who was it? Vegeta or Goku? He's like, so you ever watch Dragon Ball Z where Goku's in the hyperbolic chamber about to fight Vegeta? Was it?
Yeah, somebody.
And he was like, it's kind of like you're in your hyperbolic chamber right now getting stronger. And I just remember like sucking up the tears and being like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And
I think that's true. Like I try to tell people in the halfway houses that like, because the real truth is, like, when it comes to helping other addicts and alcoholics, you kind of have to be a one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it takes one to know one, and be able to relate and understand the struggle and understand the difficulty, the blocks, the losing your family, the giving away everything you've ever owned, and really being able to tap into someone's psyche as they're at that lowest point.
Right.
Right. And you can't just, I always tell people, like, when I was living in the woods, there was a bunch of churches that would come by and hand out food. The nicest people in the world, right? Like, and the pastor would come out there, or the member would come out there, and I immediately judged them because I knew they had no idea of the drugs and the addiction and the alcoholism, you know, and maybe they had, but it just didn't feel that way. But whenever I go in the woods or I meet someone at a detox, it's like or when someone calls my phone, like, this is a perfect example. And I don't know if Joel does this. They'll usually call and they'll be like, "Oh, is this Project X's home? Do you have a bed open?" And I'll say, "Okay, well, what's your drug of choice?" Right? Like, how long have you been sober? And you get this hesitation. Like, my instinct is like, let's see if they lie to me. Right.
Right.
And I usually stop them. I said, just to let you know, I'm a recovering addict. I'm almost 4 years sober. There's not a lot that you're going to tell me that's going to offend me. So I'm not asking because I'm wanting to judge you. I'm asking because I need to know. And usually at that moment, they're like, "Oh, well, in that case, yeah, 2 days ago, I was out."
The truth comes out.
I tell the guys in the house, like, when you're here or you're in detox, like, this is your moment to kind of be selfish and take care of yourself and strengthen yourself up, because if you're lucky, you'll get to a point where you're the one answering that phone call.
Right.
And you're being able to relate and help other people with that struggle.
Yeah.
And so that leads me to say, you know, like, what was your experience coming into the program? Because that, to me, is where you are now, most definitely.
Total God moment. Because obviously when I showed up to Tennessee, like, I just hit my knees and prayed to him. I was like, "Hey, man, like, I know my actions and my addiction took me here. I know I'm receiving consequences, but if you give me some way out, like, if you find or make some way out of here, I promise." I just gave it all. I said, "I promise I'll do exactly what you say or what you suggest. I'll take, the first route and just stay on task." And that's what happened. So I just was, as soon as I showed up, I was just nothing but grateful. I was just nothing but grateful, because I remember explaining to the program, like, I'm going to get sober in Florida. And everybody and up there were like, "Dude, you're going to use, you're going to go home and you're going to relapse. You're going to be in that same area. Like, good luck, but in my head, I was like, no, like, I am going to get sober in Florida. Something about me is like, I do thrive in the lion's den. Like,
we should go back.
Go back to Tennessee.
Yeah, we should go, because most of those guys are probably still there.
Dude, I was telling them about Sarasota, just talking, like, because they had no idea what this place, what Sarasota was like. And I'm like, "No, I'm from Florida. Like, it's the nicest place on earth, in a great recovery community." And they're like, "This Sarasota place, we want to go." So I was like, "You guys come, man." Yeah. Yeah, but no, man, my whole life has done a full 360 in a year's time. It's been 5 years since I've had a legal, valid driver's license and a car. I mean, I'm a dependable dad now. I was always in Kat's life and made sure she had what she needed. But dude, there would be times I was doing jail time, or times I was in detox or rehab where, she didn't have a father during that time. She was worried, so. I mean, my life has done a complete 360 because of Project Exodus.
Yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, like, you're a house lead at the Robinson house. And I would argue that Robinson's probably our healthiest home from a recovery standpoint. Beds full, staying full. Seems like everyone there is just headed in the right direction. And it's without a doubt because of the leadership in that home. And so, I didn't realize, like, you had only had 90 days clean as, like, your longest stretch. So hearing that, there's a couple of things that I want to say that I've noticed about your recovery, and Joel can chime in on this. There's only 2 people that I know that go to the gym more than Joel, and it's you and Nicole. Because, like, how much has that played a role in your sobriety? Like, is it important to have a routine like that for someone, or does that help?
Routine is everything. Honestly, having a structured routine of like healthy things is almost it's got to be essential in someone like a recovering addict's day to day, because we know what happens when we have downtime. We know what happens when what now, I've tested that theory time and time again. I've relapsed so many times because I didn't properly plan for every single second of the day. But I do want to say this about the gym. I want to say this about pretty much anything. We as addicts can turn anything into an unhealthy thing. And I have before, and I have to be super like mindful of anything I come into contact with because of the dopamine thing. I started doing a lot of research on, the psychological perspective of an addict and what happens to our dopamine levels and what we're trying to achieve out of normal goals and normal things. They don't hit the same way that obviously the drugs and the alcohol did. So we're always looking for that same dopamine fix, and the gym it is a healthy thing, but an addict can make the gym such an unhealthy thing. I mean, we can make anything extremely unhealthy. If we abuse it, if we over obsess about it, put it on the top of priorities when there's like A, B, and C that you've got to take care of first. So, but
Yeah, I want to say I had the same conversation with Steph the other day. I'm like, you don't get it. I'll quit my job to go to the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like,
And
what?
she's like,
yeah.
no.
Like, no, like I quit it first.
Yeah.
Had two jobs. I have my master's degree, so I had the schedule to work to 6:45 to 2:45, and I had to be at 4 o'clock on the other job.
Yeah.
So don't have like time, and sometimes I come from work.
Yeah, she's saying she's too busy.
On like the computer doing assessments. I'm like,
Joel kicks a box over.
It's like I'll quit my job to make the work.
feel like I live on the streets. It's just I had to go to the
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'll live in the woods.
Yeah.
I imagine when we get older, Joel's going to be that old man that's like, I used to have to walk uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Like, I rode a bicycle.
Dude, I still do it with people in the houses. They're like, how long is this walk up to the 7-Eleven? I go, dude. And then I snap. It's like, huh? Like,
San Agustin.
yeah.
I feel like I need to go to the house. I need to do something. 3 hours later, he wasn't come back. He came back like, oh, I just asleep to the gym.
Oh yeah, you gotta sneak it. Sometimes you gotta sneak out.
Sneak in
Turn off the phone.
You got sneak in a little leg day.
Yeah. Get that addiction. Get that dopamine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think of the gym as like it's almost like therapy. Like it's very therapeutic for me. Like it's like me selfishly taking time for myself, right? And I think the gym also, like you said, anything can be bad if it's teaching you discipline,
Right.
being able to tell yourself to do something challenging and hard and painful,
100%.
and in doing it because you know that it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. It's like a progression. It's just another element to your life that you can progress in and see positive changes and stuff. And that's, I mean, I don't know what else there is to get high off anymore.
Exactly.
So,
that's the thing.
We were talking a little bit earlier before the podcast started about, I think if one of the big things I've learned a lot about recovery with working with the house is like a majority of the people that come in that have success, like they have like what you had in that moment, like a rock bottom where they just want it, right? Like there's not there, they call it pink cloud, where it's like everything's great and then something bad happens, right? And if you don't up until that point have some type of structured regiment recovery program, recovery process, someone to call, if you haven't built that, then a lot of people tend to relapse.
Yeah.
Because the only thing they've ever done in stressful situations is use. And I think that from what I can see is like when people come in and want it, they're so willing to surrender to the suggestions of go to a meeting, get a sponsor, go to the gym, don't sit in your room and isolate, be a part of everything, communicate.
Yeah.
But if someone's coming in and they just don't, they think they still know, right? Like their best thinking is still in control.
Right.
And is that something you could say was different this time?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just referencing back to that moment in Tennessee where I hit my knees, and I made a deal with him. I said I will literally do anything without question. If you find me a way back home and somehow find me a way to stay sober, get sober and stay sober, I will do whatever it is without any questions asked. And from wanting to get sober for the last 5 years, I knew exactly what I had to do. It wasn't like I was any stranger to, recovery and like going to meetings and getting sober, having a sponsor, stuff like that. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. I just needed to allow myself to do it, to actually do it. Yeah. And dude, a sponsor, really. I mean, like everything aside, a good sponsor is like your best chances of figuring it out and staying sober.
What would you say are some of the, oh man, this be a whole episode about sponsorship. Like, what are you walking into recovery? What are you looking for in sponsor? Like, are there any tips? Is it just raise your hand and take the first person that comes up? What are you looking for?
No, I think that's one thing that you gotta kind of be picky about and not feel like, be unapologetic about it, because we all come from different circumstances and things in life that, you're going to relate more with a person that either has been through what you've been through, or that you can confide into fully. Because, dude, when you get into some of those steps and if you really are serious about working those steps proper and thorough, it becomes a form of free therapy. That's how this last, my current sponsor right now and working the steps, that's what it feels like. It feels like 100%. What?
No.
I love the free therapy, man. That's what I've been saying to Paul this whole time, man.
So
he's over there paying for therapy. I'm like, dude, we got it for free. We got it for free.
You opened a can of worms. So, like, just for clarity, I've been going to therapy for the last year.
That's killer. That's awesome.
I brought it up. Like, Joel brought it up in one episode. He was like, "Why are you going to therapy? Free therapy?" Like,
what else is there to even say, man?
And so you had to say that.
I had to say the coin phrase. Dude, that's awesome that you've been going to therapy.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I do.
Quit.
Free or paid,
Yeah.
He quit the other day.
I didn't. No. Wait. I didn't quit. I just don't have. I haven't.
Pause.
I have not been putting appointments.
Yeah.
But talking about therapy, for me, it was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was in therapist for 3 years.
Talking to the mic.
Yeah. Mic it up.
I was in therapist for 3 years. I
Yeah.
had like issues for my dad. I never had a dad, so I was bringing this to the old relationships, and I never figured it out until I get married, and I was in an abusive marriage. So
Yeah.
I
We
had,
all raised by single mothers in there?
I guess,
I was.
I don't-
Tyler?
No, my
You got a dad around? Stepdad? Something?
stepdad that was every bit of a dad,
Nice.
so.
Yeah. As far as therapy, like,
that's
Anyways.
for free. You don't
Yeah.
but I have insurance, so it's like,
Wow, okay.
Everything.
yeah.
It's all about the money, man.
No, but like I don't disagree. So I don't know. I'm always very open to suggestions from people like Joel, especially. Like, I don't know why, but to kind of let recovery do recovery's thing.
Mhm.
Like the real cool thing about what we do, when I say we, I mean like Project Exodus, the leadership. It's like, to me, it's its own form of recovery, the service aspect of it, right? Like, you can't go around helping people if you're using drugs and not doing what you're supposed to do in recovery.
Right.
So to kind of just fast forward a little bit. So this coming Wednesday night, you'll be at Next Generation Recovery, which is at 7:00 at 1801 North Lockwood Ridge Road, Grace Life's campus up there. And we'll be broadcasting that live also on our Facebook page. Lonnie was there last night, killed it.
Yeah,
Crazy good. If you didn't watch it or you haven't seen it, go check it out. Lonnie's amazing. Are you nervous at all, or are you gotten to a point where you're comfortable speaking?
No, man, it's. I mean, this is what saved my life. It's very natural, and there's really no script. Like, I mean, even Lonnie was saying, when you go to share a story or a testimony, I guess that's the biggest thing that I learned from going to meetings, so many meetings I had gone to, is I would have sponsors that would be like, "Hey man, you got to share." And I'd be so like, "Dude, I'm so nervous. What am I going to say? I'm going to say the dumbest thing. I'm not going to say the right thing." And this one sponsor was just finally like, "Dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, share. There's no dumb thing you could say. You just share, speak from the heart, talk about what you're dealing with, talk about the struggles that you're having in early sobriety. Just be real and raw." So there really is no script or prep. Everything I've done in the last year for myself and for my recovery is the prep work. You know what I mean? Like everything I do day to day basis is prepping me for sharing my story. And yeah, I'm excited, but no nerves really.
Well, good. I'm glad. We look forward to hearing your story Wednesday night. So again, everybody chime in. How long have we been on?
Almost there.
52 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, 52 minutes.
Wow.
Anything you want to, say to anybody, or anything you want to if you could give, one line or some statement that you could give someone new in recovery or that's thinking about getting sober, what would you say to them?
Just give it an honest try. Give it an honest try. And that future you depends on you right now to make that decision. If you know you've got a problem and you've got to get your life together, future you is waiting on you to lock in and to make the right decision. So because it's incredible what the resources that you guys have and what you guys do for people. It's absolutely incredible, and it blows my mind how quick someone's life can do a full 360 from being a homeless addict to a thriving member of society. So just give it a try. That's
Yeah.
all.
You got anything else there, Joel, you want to add?
You pretty much nailed it right there. I like that line too, because I always think of like an active addiction, stealing from your future self.
Mm-hmm.
And in recovery, it's all about paying your future self.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Well, again, we appreciate you coming on the podcast and, being vulnerable, sharing, about your story. And we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So that's it for episode 51. We appreciate everybody checking out the podcast. You can go to our website, projectexoduscorp.com. If you're interested in any of our merchandise, our shirts, our hats, all that stuff's on there. All the proceeds from those go to helping people in early recovery. Bus passes, cell phones, food, clothes, you name it. We used all of those proceeds, and you get a cool t-shirt out of it. I think all our shirts start about $20. Shipping's extremely cheap. We want to sell as many of those as we possibly can because we can help more people. If you're out there and you're looking for housing, you're looking for a sober place to go, projectexodushomes.com. You can go there, put in an application, or send us an email. You can also see our contact information there if you'd like to give us a call. We're here. All three of us here have went through the same process, and I can speak for the three of us when I tell you our lives are amazing because we had a safe place to go and get clean and get sober. And so, again, I'm rooting for you. If you're even thinking about it, I'm proud of you for putting the thought in, and I'm extremely encouraged by anyone that's just trying to get their life together. Again, that's it for episode 51. My name is Paul.
Joel, love you guys.
Peace.
Tyler.